Traveling across the world to look for a Kagu. That is the kind of birding we like to do.
Thank you for tuning in to Hannah and Eric Go Birding, a podcast by birders for birders.
I'm Hannah and he's Eric.
We created this podcast to share adventures, sometimes misadventures, and opinions that we have on different birding topics. We're definitely not experts, and anything that we discuss that might be controversial, I want you to remember their own opinions, and it might be different from yours.
So I want to start out talking about something that we mentioned like 2 episodes ago. So we ran into a listener at the Rio Grande Valley Birding Festival, which we will talk about in our next episode.
Contrary to what we posted on Facebook.
Yeah. Anyways, so they were like, you don't really say anything controversial. And then we talked about that, and then we got an email from somebody about their hot takes. Mm-hmm. And so I was thinking about it, and I have a hot take that I want to air. That's not
just air this. This is a grievance Hannah's had with the world for years.
One of many. Anyways, this one is not birding specific, but it does. I don't know. It spans all genres and all hobbies and everything.
It's infiltrated all of the written word. It's written the spoken word.
It is the overuse of the word perfect.
Yeah. And perfectly seasoned.
Oh, stop it.
Cooked to perfection.
But I really thought about it because I read a book earlier this year that will not be named, and the author used the word perfect like, I don't know, a dozen times on each page, and it just drove me nuts. It was like, you know, the bird was perfectly placed, or the light perfectly hit the bird, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And I mean, it also really irritates me when I see it on a menu that something is like perfectly cooked or
that's
perfectly
when it bothers
seasoned.
me. Like I don't really have an aversion to the word perfect like you do, but when I see it on a menu, like consistently, like perfectly seasoned to whose taste?
Exactly.
Perfectly cooked. Like
because
what is perfectly cooked steak?
Eric
like,
doesn't understand when you use salt and pepper. He's never put salt or pepper on a entree ever, or soup, anything. He's never like taken a salt shaker and put it on an item of food.
No, I have never.
And he doesn't understand.
And I never will. I refuse.
He doesn't understand why you would salt something. And so that's just to say that like seasoning is subjective. And
yes,
somebody's perfect seasoning is not the same as somebody else's. So yeah, it really, the overuse of perfect. I feel like there's a lot of other words that could be used that like maybe they're just not being as creative, you know?
Maybe.
I don't know. That's just my hot take. Don't hate me about it. It's just, it's not like
it's Hannah's opinion, and everyone has their own opinion. It might be different from yours.
It's not like I emailed the author. It's not like I wrote a bad review on Goodreads or anything because of it. It's just something that was like, every time I saw it, it's like,
perfect. I
just wanted to take a Sharpie and like start, making marks.
Creating new words for him.
I'm just taking it out of the sentence. So that's my hot take.
Hot take.
Do you have one?
I don't have. I feel like you surprised me. I don't have a hot take. Not right now.
We talked about this the other day.
Oh, that's true. We did, but I decided not to think about it.
You didn't think of a hot take?
Yeah.
You just left me out to hang.
I left you out to hang. Hannah's got the hot take. I'll second you on that though.
Okay. No, you won't, because you don't feel that way.
I don't feel that strong about it.
Can you come up with a hot take for the next episode?
I'll work on it. I'll get you something.
Maybe we should just have a hot take corner. We'll see if it happens. Email us your hot takes.
Yeah, sure.
Birds, otherwise, I don't know. It's just turned into my favorite murder. Like, tell me a story. Email me something. I don't care. So we wanted to also thank someone for buying us a coffee. So thank you so much, Joby P, for buying us a coffee and supporting our show. We really appreciate it.
And for correcting the pronunciation of your name.
Yeah, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
We appreciate that because, we get things wrong all the time.
All the time.
You guys know. You listen to us. Or this is your first time, and welcome to the show. We'll probably get some things wrong, but we're having fun doing it.
Sure, yeah.
But we appreciate everyone who buys us coffee or Venmos us or supports us in whatever way. Even just sharing our podcast with your friends, maybe, or liking our posts on Facebook. Those are all great ways to support us, and we appreciate everyone who has done so.
Yeah. All right. So Hannah has 2 other podcasts. She loves to podcast. You've got Hannah and Eric Go Birding comes out every other Thursday.
I feel like that's your nice way of saying that Hannah likes to talk.
Nah.
I don't even like to talk. I just can't help myself.
You just can't help yourself. But in between every episode of Hannah and Eric Go Birding, Hannah has a different podcast that comes out. One week is Women Birders Happy Hour, and the other week is Bird Nerd Book Club. So last week you had an episode of Women Birders Happy Hour. Who'd you have on?
So I had Caitlin Davis, who is a artist and a birder and a community builder in New York. And man, she gave me like the hardest bird. It was white-faced storm petrel.
Oh, I remember you. Yeah, yeah.
You know, just another thing. So I've done over 100 Women Birder Happy Hour podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
and I make a cocktail based on a bird that's mentioned in every single one. When I first
Sounds
started,
like a book in the making to me. I'm just saying.
Trademarked. So when I was coming up with this idea, I was thinking like, oh, I'll probably get fun drinks like painted bunting and I don't know, like rainbow macaw or something, you know, that's bright and colorful and like really easy to create into a
I feel like that
cocktail.
would be difficult though still.
See, I've
But-
had a macaw, like I thought of that years ago when we were in Costa Rica.
Oh,
It was
locked
like,
and loaded.
this is how I would make that if that was cocktail. That was really where I started the podcast. Was,
And nobody has said macaw yet,
No.
so you haven't had the opportunity to release the macaw
but now,
in the world.
now if somebody says it, I'm gonna like always think like, did they just say that because of this podcast episode right now? So it'll never happen.
Oh man,
Anyways,
white
yeah.
face storm petrol.
So many of the I love how creative that it forces me to be on this, even though I know nothing about cocktails
You know something
and
about
cocktail
cocktails.
making. I know I like drinking them.
You've made a lot of them now.
Yeah, that's true. But the majority of birds that people give me are like totally unexpected birds,
Mm-hmm.
like a white-faced storm petrel. Like what?
How do you craft a cocktail based on a white face
Exactly.
storm petrel? That's some creativity there.
So many of the birds that I get are like brown or gray, and
They use their life history.
I do, and a lot of them eat like phytoplankton. So it's been a struggle bus moment sometimes, but I really think I did come up with a good cocktail for this one.
And next week, Bird Nerd Book Club. You read a book and you interviewed an author.
Not this time.
Uh-oh.
So
You didn't do that this time.
No.
It's a mix-up on the
I know.
dynamic there.
I'm still working. I have like 4 books in the works that I'm trying to read. No, this one is going to be with Lizzie of Budio Books, who owns Budio Books in California. And I talked with her last year, kind of a wrap up of 2024 last year.
Mhm.
And we'll chat about 2025 and, you know, things that are going on at her shop and like book trends and things like that. So if you have any questions that I should ask Lizzie, just, you know, shoot me a question and it'll only be a couple days, so I don't know. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
So, Eric, we're going a couple places.
We are, yeah. So we just got back from a trip, but we are going to be here in town for a little bit before going to guide at the Morro Bay Birding Festival in January down in Central California coast. Then we're headed to Japan in February, end of February, to go bird in the sea ice and find eagles and owls and all the cool stuff that Japan has to offer for us. And then in April, we'll be guiding at the Spring Chirp Bird Festival again. So if you haven't signed up, Morro Bay Bird Festival in January is mostly filling up. We just got an email that many of the trips are already full. So
They had like 900 registrants or something.
Tons and tons of people are already registered. So if you want to go, hopefully your trip that you really want to go on isn't already sold out. But there probably are still some spots left for different trips. And then Spring Chirp, I don't think registration's opened yet for them, but it's a super fun bird festival down in the Rio Grande Valley. It's the Spring Rio Grande Valley Bird Festival, basically.
Sorta.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So that brings us to our November Bird Nerd giveaway.
Yes, it does.
Which is a notebook that was very generously donated from Quill and Finch. And if you are not the winner of this, you can still go purchase one of their beautiful notebooks for 10% off by December 31st if you use the coupon code Hannah and Eric. We got one of the notebooks and it's just beautifully done. And there's a lot of, I mean, it's a pretty hefty notebook too.
Yeah.
Like there's a ton of pages in it.
Oh yeah.
So it'll
last you a little while.
Yeah, and it's versatile, so there's a lot of different ways you can use it depending on how you enjoy using field journals. So, Eric, what were we asking people to do?
So we wanted people to let us know what their favorite ancillary thing about birding was. I said that I'm really interested in learning about the other imperiled species that when we're out and about, not just birds and seeing birds and going out and enjoying birds, but learning about things like the ohia tree on Kauai that's endangered because of this I think it's a virus or it's bacteria that they get from roots, and it's that they have the sudden death, the disease that they get. So learning about stuff like that, where it's like, oh man, there's other things we need to be much more careful about while we're out and about in nature and enjoying ourselves. And then, Hannah, you had a favorite ancillary thing?
Yeah, so mine was just that it helps us focus on how to travel, because I always knew that I wanted to travel, but before birding, I didn't really know, like, how am I going to figure, like...
Prioritize going somewhere.
Yeah,
Choose a location.
What is going to give me the purpose to travel to a certain place? And birding has definitely done that, as you might have experienced in all our episodes about the crazy places that we end up going. So our randomly selected winner was Cheryl, who said, by birding, it has allowed them to meet around the world fellow birders and those interested in protecting the natural world. The idea that the earth is worth protecting bridges and melds us all together. And while social media is a great way to connect others around the globe, there's no substitute for actually visiting and meeting other individuals with shared interests. So congratulations, Cheryl. We'll get in touch with you. But there were a lot of really great answers.
Yes, there was
one that was kind of like yours, that the entry that they live in Florida and they really enjoy going out and finding orchids.
Yeah,
and
so that's the air plants and stuff.
Yeah. I'm sorry, not just orchids, air plants. And a lot of people said, that helps them learn more about nature and get outside and meet others. So thank you all to everyone who entered, and we'll have another Bird Nerd giveaway for you in the next episode.
So, main event. I feel like there's been a lot of people on social media and kind of all across that have been very excited to hear about this part of our trip in New Caledonia. So we went to New Caledonia. Yeah. We had a target. The whole reason we were going to New Caledonia, essentially, was Hannah found this bird, a Kagu. And it's
I didn't find it. I mean,
she didn't find it. She saw a picture online and then read about and learned about this bird, the Kagu.
Yeah.
This forest dwelling ground bird that just hangs out and is not doing that great and is only on one island.
Yeah.
And so that kind of gave us the reason to go to this far-flung island, southwestern Pacific Ocean.
Well, there's a combination of factors. So there's that, because I feel like I remember watching David Attenborough talk about Kagus, and that has really shaped a lot of where I want to go, is from Life of Birds. But also, doing some research and just messing around on eBird, I saw that New Caledonia only had about 600 or so eBirders that have submitted from there, and that's one of the things that I really like doing, is go to these underbirded places and try to get on the top 100. But also, as I was doing research, I found that there seems to be one consistent guide in New Caledonia
for the entire island,
and it's a woman. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to meet this woman who has paved the way and done such a cool thing to be the only bird guide in New Caledonia.
Yeah. So we decided this is where we're gonna go. Hannah reached out and didn't hear back for a while.
Yeah.
So Isabel has a standard 3-day trip, and we're like, oh, that could work. We kind of drew out what our plan was for the whole time, and then reached out, and then I think she
wasn't available or something for those days.
It was something like that. So then it was like, oh, shoot, all right, so maybe we'll just go somewhere else instead.
So we were looking at Samoa or Guam, because, of course, I really wanted to go to a island nation and explore that in the region of the world that we've never really been to before. And then Isabel ended up responding that she would be available.
She gave us some dates that were right in the smack middle of when we thought that we would be able to be there. And it was like, oh, all right, let's pull the trigger. We bought plane tickets. We got the ball rolling, making everything happen.
Yeah. So as Eric mentioned, she has a standard 3-day trip that she offers, and just a variety of different custom trips that you can do as well. When she was dropping us off, she was about to pick up somebody for a 17-day trip. So there's a lot of variety that she can do, but the standard 3-day trip that she offered was perfect for us. So just before we get into talking about the trip itself, I just want to talk a little bit about Isabel, because she is one of the best guides I think we've ever had.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, she's very organized, thoughtful, open, honest. The conversation never faltered or anything like that. We've had other guides where we're driving along and then there's just hours of silence, which feels a little awkward, but Isabel is a natural conversationalist. And really interesting, and knows a lot about the country, knows a lot about birds. She's very highly educated And it was just...
Yeah, she has a PhD in conservation, so something around conservation.
Yeah.
I honestly wish I remembered exactly what it
Well,
was.
it was like in GIS too.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
so
she had done some mapping.
So it's very, very, very well educated, highly educated, very well informed of New Caledonia
Yeah.
and all the wildlife and everything, basically everything about the country, which is super cool.
Yeah, definitely. So it was just an absolute joy to spend time with her and, learn about all this stuff. And she gave us a lot of different choices, whether we wanted to book with her for accommodations or just provide suggestions. And we went with the recommendation route. So she gave us a couple locations to book that would be on the 3-day route because we were spending one night in one hotel. The second night was a different hotel, and the third night was back at the first hotel. So there was some coordination with that, but she made it really easy.
Yeah.
And I'm just so glad that we found her.
Yeah. And when I said that she didn't get back to us for a while to start with, once we had set on a date and we decided on stuff, very easy to get back and forth in communication with Isabel. Like it was difficult initially to get her attention. And then once we had it, then it was back and forth easy. No
Honestly,
problem.
I think she was guiding at the time.
She probably was on a trip.
Yeah, which...
And she doesn't have a company. She is just Isabel that's guiding New Caledonia Birds.
Caledonia Birding.
Caledonia Birding. And she is the company. So it's when you're emailing her, and sometimes she's out in the field birding.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I honestly, that's probably what it was. But yeah, once we got that back and forth going, we quickly got through, settled on the price and everything, and it was all good to go. We booked the rooms, and then we flew over there, did our Uvia stuff, and then back to New Caledonia, ready to check in, go out birding with Isabel.
Yeah. So the night before, we stayed at the Hotel Beau Rivage, which is a really nice touristy hotel right on an area that has a nice beach and lots of restaurants. We went to a brewery that didn't have any food, so we drank too many beers.
They said they had food, but they were like, "Oh no, you have to get it at this other place over here." And then they pointed us like 4 different directions each time we talked to them.
Yeah, but the time we figured that out, we'd had enough beers.
We had enough beers that it didn't matter.
And so we ate some really bad Mexican food next door. And you might ask, Hannah, Eric, why would you eat Mexican food halfway across the world?
Well, we've done this lots and lots of times. I think we may have talked about it before. But on our first big international trip that we ever went on, we went to Singapore
and Kuala
Lumpur. And while we were there, I just happened to see on the hotel's menu quesadilla. And it was like, oh, it's a quesadilla. That's interesting. And so I ordered it. It wasn't very expensive. It was like the hotel restaurant had a quesadilla on the menu, and we're in Kuala Lumpur, and it was a tortilla and some chips and some chili, no cheese. I don't know where the queso was in the name. Like, it was a quesadilla supposedly. So it was very interesting.
Quesadilla.
That's true. It's not a queso.
Yeah.
But so I was like, all right. So since then, anytime I see Mexican food on a menu somewhere, like tamales or anything, when we're anywhere around the world, it's like, I really want to eat the local food, but I also want to try what their idea of Mexican food is.
Well,
each time.
The first time I went to Paris was like the first time I went to Europe, and we were in Paris. I got a wrap, or I got a burrito.
You had a burrito, right? Yeah.
I got a burrito at some restaurant, and it ended up being like a sandwich wrap. So it's just, I don't know. It's like going to different, like sometimes we go to different McDonald's because it's interesting to like compare and contrast like the experiences from one place to another. Yeah. So that's why we end up getting
get the local opinion of what they think Mexican food is. And we have the local opinion in Oregon of what Oregonians think Mexican food is.
Well, and our Mexican food is so much different from like Texas Mexican food.
Or even California. Yeah. It's all different. It's usually all generally good. Or okay. It's never horrible. I've never had like a horrible experience. Like,
I'm sure you have some odd
someone probably
travel thing like that too, that you really like to do this one thing.
Yes. So we got some bad Mexican food at the place next to the brewery.
But the beer was good.
In New Caledonia.
And our room was really comfortable. Yes. We went to bed early since we were meeting Isabel at 5 a.m. And she picked us up right on time and took us over to a bakery that's nearby and grabbed our lunches and breakfast. Fantastic pastries.
Yeah.
And
nice coffee.
Yeah, and then we headed off to our first birding spot, which my French is very rusty, but Parc Les Grandes Fougères, which is Park of the Grand Fern Trees, and it's a couple-hour drive from Noumea. And on the drive, we had a few lifers, little black cormorant, white-faced heron, whistling kite. And then the thing that, like, just really stood out to me was, like, groups of turkeys, like wild turkeys all over the place.
Just kind of around.
I don't know why.
I guess they're introduced wild turkeys just hanging around.
I don't know why I didn't think about that they would be there, but there you go, wild turkeys.
Wild turkeys. So she, Isabel had a few places along the access road that she was like, all right, these are some spots that we can stop at, that a place we can pull over. Basically, it's similar to the way we've birded lots of times in like Central and South America, where you're just driving a road and you can just walk some of it, and it's basically a cut through habitat. Yeah. So it's just like a road cut through the habitat, and you can just bird along it. So that's what we did. We got some really good birds to start with. The red-throated parrotfinch.
Oh my gosh, which is gorgeous.
Fantastic.
It's like fake. It's like that AI bird, that everybody keeps sharing on Facebook. It's a Christmas bird. It has a red throat and face, and then and behind, and then its middle is like a bright green that like starkly contrasts.
Yeah, just like
the red.
Shockingly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's there. You don't. I've got into this a couple of times. We don't need to get into it, but AI. Why?
Okay.
Come on. Like, these birds are gorgeous. Like these things, the cloven-feathered dove and the red-throated parrotfinch. These things already have colors that are unreal. Why do you have to make up fake stuff? That doesn't make it makes no sense.
There's your hot take.
There's my hot take there.
Yeah.
There is real things in the world that is so much more spectacular than the stupid AI slop. But come on. Anyways, this is honestly right at this spot was where it was like, oh, thank goodness we have a guide, because we saw a bunch of white eyes and silver eyes, the greenbacked white eyes and the silver eyes, and we were having so much trouble the first day when we were first in New Caledonia.
There's like
which are which? Like, how?
Yeah, there's like 8 different white eyes or so, and then a silver eye. They do have obvious differences, but it's tough to tell when you're not super familiar with.
Yeah, you're not familiar with them at all. So it's honestly this is the best part about travel, is that you've never been to this place. You've never seen these birds. You've never seen any of these birds before. It's basically taken you all the way back to square one in your knowledge of local birds, but you get to try to use your skills that you've built of how to observe things to try to come up with conclusions and get to identifying the birds. But then you have a guide that can help describe it and help point you in the right direction sometimes, which is nice. But the greenback white eyes and the silver eyes, pretty difficult to tell apart. But it is, when you get a good look at them, you can't tell them apart.
Yeah.
Always moving though, kind of like kinglets and stuff that you have, or a golden crest from Goldcrest from England, like always moving like that. Yeah. Like they don't stop moving. But it was great to have her like, oh, that's that and that's that. Like,
yeah, that helped out a lot.
Yeah, so we drove a little further and had, I don't know, a half dozen buff-banded rails back and forth across the road as we're driving. And it was like often enough that Isabel, like the first couple that we saw, she like kind of just offhandedly mentioned, oh yeah, there's buff-banded rail. And that was a lifer. I was like, oh, I don't think I ever got a photo of one.
Well, she couldn't stop where we were at.
No, the part of the road, there was no shoulder. We couldn't stop. But it was like, I wish I would have known that was a possibility. I'm like trying to dig through my seatbelt and pull out my camera at the same time while I'm riding shotgun in the van.
So our goal for this spot was really the cloven-feathered dove, and we hadn't gotten into the park yet. We were still on the access road.
Yeah, entry road, yeah.
Yeah, there was maybe like, I don't know, 2 or 3 miles of entry road.
Something like that, yeah.
That we would stop and bird at. And Isabel had several in a tree recently, and so we stopped to look there to see if they were there, which we didn't see any. We heard them calling, but we couldn't get a look at them. And they're fruit eaters, and so they just kind of moved to which tree is fruiting at the time.
Whatever's got ripe fruit.
And it was super frustrating because you could hear them calling. And like our doves here in the U.S. are not that secretive, but the doves down there are like tough.
Fruit doves, shockingly secretive.
Yeah.
Especially for such a brightly colored. I guess they have to be secretive being so brightly colored. Yeah. But such a brightly colored dove, but then secret. You can't find these things. They're in the leaves, and they match the leaves. They're green and yellows and.
Yeah, and these doves are super unique. Like you said, they're a large fat dove with short tail and almost like a melon-like head, like a beluga whale.
Like a beluga whale, yeah.
And they're bright green with a yellow belly and white bands on their wings. They're just really stunning birds, and they're pretty significantly sized.
Yeah.
And they're usually found in like mid to high tall trees, and their call can just carry.
Yeah. And surprisingly, for something, it's a very low pitch call. I can't remember in hertz. It was like the 400 to 500 hertz. Like it was down there at the bottom, like when I was doing the recordings, I got a couple of recordings of them, and it's down at the bottom. Like,
Yeah.
like you can, it's like, it's super low, so it's like, but somehow it carries for a long way. So then you're like, as you're walking around trying to find where is this exactly coming from?
As it was calling and we were trying to get looks for them, of them, we had a New Caledonian goshawk fly through, and it spooked everything into silence. So that kind of busted that area. And so we went a little bit further, a couple 100 feet down the road, parked for a few more minutes, and there were some houses there. We were looking for the dove again, and heard a horned parakeet in the yard, which is very similar to the Uvia parakeet that we had just seen. It's a little bit larger and has a patch of black feathers on their head.
Instead of the red feathers that the Uvia parakeet has.
Which leads it to the name horned. I don't really know how, but whatever.
That's a mohawk. You know, it's like a rhino horn on the top of its head, I guess.
It's feathers, though.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's the same. Oh, no, it's not the same material. It's close.
So, yeah, so that was really cool to get a good look at that. And then there were New Caledonian firebirds everywhere, which if you've never seen a New Caledonian firebird,
don't.
They're like terrifying looking. They're a honey eater. They're a large honey eater, which we were seeing different species of honey eaters the whole time. But
anyone familiar with He-Man? They're Skeletor. They look kind of scary.
They're haunting my nightmares. No.
Yeah, but they act like jays. They fill the same niche as a lot of jays do here in the States. They're jerks. They kind of like harass the other, like all the other honey eaters or the silver, whatever's around. They kind of like jump at them, and it's kind of an interesting dynamic, being that they're also a honey eater.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so about that time, there were some New Caledonia crows that came in, which was like mind-blowing. And I feel like they didn't really come in with the fanfare that I expected.
They were just there.
Yeah, it's like, you were some of the smartest birds of the world. Like, you just flew in. Whatever. Not a big deal. I was trying to play cool too. Not like, oh my gosh, how cool is that? Yeah, so
I got your arms crossed and you're like, yeah, no big deal.
Whatever.
Just around.
I'm smart too. I know how to use tools. So we got back in the car, kept on driving down the road and listening for the cloven feathered, because that was really the target. And then right before we got into the entrance,
just maybe like a couple 100 feet before the entrance.
Yeah, Isabel was hearing them again. And so we stopped, and oh my gosh, Isabel has the patience of a saint. I mean, she maybe waited and listened for like half an hour, and like, it was in the tree right in front of us. You know how when you hear a bird calling and it's obviously right in front of you.
And you're looking right at it, but you can't see it.
Yeah. So she was doing that, and every time it would call, she would move a step to the left or to the right and just kind of trying to triangulate where the bird was. And she eventually found it.
Yeah, it was all the way at the tippy top. It was hidden behind the stuff. We could only see, I got a couple of photos. Like, I see from one position, I was able to get photos of just the chest. And then another position, I got photos of just the head. So it was like this bird was fully in there in the top.
Yeah.
And it moved around, and eventually we got some better looks at it as it was up there, but it was all the way up there at the top.
We'll post a picture on Facebook, so make sure to check that out, because it's a stunning bird.
It's a really interesting looking bird.
Yeah. So that led us into the park, which has a nice little entrance with a store and bathrooms, and another cloven feathered dove that was like right at eye level.
This time a female.
Yeah, not far at all. It's like, come on, man.
much easier to see at eye level, out in the open. But it was a female, like, so they're sexually dimorphic. The males are like bright green, bright yellow with a white and black band across their chest, and they don't have that band the female doesn't have the band.
So it's not that different.
But it's like obvious. Like, you can tell, like, oh, that one's really missing a thing, or that one really has something extra. Like, it's pretty when you see them, especially because we saw them like within minutes of each other. Yeah. Like, it's like, oh man, those are way different.
And I tried to digiscope it, but it took off.
Just barely. Yeah.
Yeah, so as we walked into the park, we were walking down this hill and chatting, and Isabel told us that our chance of seeing a Kagu at this park was about 10%. And we were most likely to see them on our last day of birding when we went to a different park. So the main trail was pretty pleasant, heavily forested, with lots of New Caledonian whistlers and New Caledonian Firebirds following us.
And the main target for this park here was the crows. There's a family group of New Caledonian crows that is known to just kind of hang out, and they have some young from the year. So it's like that was like the main target to come to this park for, and along with all the other endemics. And it's just a really cool park. It's a really cool botanic park that has some ancient plants that are from like the original flowering plants that are their lineage can be traced way back, because New Caledonia was part of Gondwanaland when Pangaea split up into 2 or 3 continents as it was still like forming. One of those big giant original proto-continents was Gondwanaland, and that's what New Caledonia is. So the land is ancient, the plants that are on it are ancient, and so there was some of these like old, and the giant fern trees. That's an ancient lineage of plants,
and that's why there's so many endemic species.
That's why there's so many endemic species on New Caledonia, because both plants and insects and birds and everything, just because it's such an old island. And so it was just go to this really cool park to see some cool stuff. Well, but then also this New Caledonian crow was there. So we're walking down through. She's explaining some of this stuff to us and telling us about this and that and all the cool stuff. And we're asking her about Kagus and why it's a lower chance here. And she explained to us about the dogs have like loose people like let their dogs free, and then the dogs form herds and they're they form flocks of dogs. They're just going all over the place, and they kill Kagus.
Yeah. Kagus have no fear because, well, I mean, they have
relatively low fear.
Yeah, because they evolved in a place that didn't have ground predators and no mammals other than bats. Mm-hmm. And so they didn't have a fear of these things, and so they don't do super well when there's like dogs and cats.
And so dogs, like one dog went through the park and killed like what she said, like 30%.
I thought she said like 10 or 30%, like it
was a substantial percentage of all of the Kagus that were present at this park.
Yeah,
all like in 1 year or like in 6 months or something. It was like all at once, just killed a whole bunch of Kagus. So they put up a fence, got the dogs
and
out,
also
and
deer.
put up a fence.
She said there's introduced deer
Introduced
there.
Deer and do bad,
Yeah, they do bad.
They do bad.
I want a shirt that says that. Introduced deer do bad.
Introduced deer do bad.
I guess we'll just leave it there.
That's it. But so we're going along, and she's telling us, that's why it's a low % chance. We're probably not going to see Kagu here at the park. And so we get to this boardwalk.
So we're walking down the boardwalk, and not even 50 feet down the trail, Eric whispered, "Hannah, look." And there was a Kagu, not even 20 feet from me, just standing there, like at eye level on like the boardwalk was kind of in a sunken area, and so there was there was like a ledge that was up that was probably like 3 feet tall, and then it kind of sloped upwards away from us. And there was just a Kagu standing there, and I was like,
What? So it's like this ghost in the forest. We're walking along, and it's like slowly working its way through, just kind of like picking along, pecking at the ground, and it's like legitimately. It was to me. It was like a Scooby-Doo ghost. Like it's just there, like coming through the forest, walking along, and so we're just like silent, just like watching this thing get closer and closer and closer. And I took a handful of photos, and then it gets closer and closer, and all of a sudden it's like 10 feet away, and then all of a sudden it's like at our feet, like walking along, and it's like walking like 5 feet away from us, and it's like, what is this thing doing?
I cried,
and
I'm crying now. And it was amazing, and
like it was making like these little chirping noises, like
his beak was all dirty because it was like foraging,
because it was foraging in the mud, and it was just like and I tried to it was so cool.
We probably spent like 10 or 15 minutes with the bird, and it was like circling around us, and oh my gosh, I couldn't get enough videos.
We were taking photos with our phones, and it was way too close for the camera. Like I would pull the camera out, and it has like a 15-foot minimum focus, so I'm like, or maybe it's 10-foot minimum focus, whatever it is. I was too close, and I'm like trying to slowly back away quietly so that I can get a photo, and then I'm still just getting a photo of just the face because it's so close. It was so cool. Like this guy just like guy or girl following along the edge of the path, and it's so cool. And so then Isabel tells us that like as soon as it worked its way all the way around us, and then just kind of walked down through the forest, down into the ravine.
It like heard something and it kind of skittered away.
Yeah, so it went away, and so Isabel is telling us that that's typical behavior of the Kagus, that if you just let it come up to you, it'll come over because it's kind of curious, and it'll investigate. It'll keep eating and pretend like it's watching you or whatever, and it'll come up close, and then it'll go away. But if you try to go after it and try to follow it, it's gone.
Yeah.
It has no interest. It's like, nope, you're chasing me. I don't want to get chased.
Yeah.
So we just happened to do the right thing. We just walked up, saw it, and stood still and just waited for it, and it just walked right up to us.
That was nuts.
So cool.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So our target, that was it. Our whole target for going to New Caledonia on the first day of
when she tells
guiding
you
with Isabel.
She tells you it's 10%. You're like, okay, we're doing pretty good.
Expectations were set good, yeah.
Yeah.
So we continued down the trail, and I was hoping to see another Kagu. I was like, oh, I hope we see another
Me
one.
too.
That'd be so cool.
Right? It's like I was just looking down the entire time.
Well, we go along. We see other really cool birds, the whistlers and stuff like that, and then we find the main target that Isabel had for this location, the New Caledonia crows, and this was a much more fanfare involved in these ones rather than the ones that just kind of showed up. So this group of New Caledonia crows they've been watching it for a while, like her and other birders that are going out to the spot, that they have a baby, they have a juvenile, this first year bird that they're still feeding, and the adult was carrying a stick when we first saw it, and then it tossed the stick down and grabbed a leaf, and she's like, oh, I think it's gonna do it. And we watched it as it held down the leaf and pecked along the edge and pulled out the center center spine, not the spine, the vein, the center vein off the leaf, pulled that off, and it was using that as the tool. So it built the tool by taking apart the leaf, and then it was taking it and jamming that stem of the leaf into some things to pull ants out of the tree, or pull some insects out of the tree. And then it was like it would set it down and then it would eat it off the stick and then pick the stick back up and shove it back in the hole. Like,
and then they were trying to teach the juvenile to feed too, but it was not having it. It was like, just feed me.
It was feed me.
Yeah. So we got to the top of the hill, and there was a picnic table, had lunch. It was lovely. And then as we were walking back down to the car, there was an American couple. It was like a father and a daughter that were walking, kind of next to us. And they stopped to ask us what this bird was that they found on their flip phone. They had a flip phone picture that they had taken, and it was a Kagu. I was like, this is why people come here.
This is the whole reason. They're like, oh, so cool. What's interesting? This is a cool bird. Yeah. What is this? And it's like, this is the whole reason we're here. It was pretty cool. But yeah, they were traveling around all the French-speaking islands. Yeah. Around the world, I guess. And that was, he had just retired. She just graduated from college, and it was like, well, we're just going to travel around and go to all the French-speaking islands in the world.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, have fun. Have a good life. Bye-bye.
So we left there, and we had told Isabel that we were hoping to see a few ducks, like gray teal. And so she took us to a retention pond that was just down the road. Pacific black duck, gray teal, Australasian grebe, welcome swallow. I mean, for a little spot that didn't look like it would have much.
Just a little retention pond in the middle of a city at a playground.
Yeah, we get like 4 lifers right there.
Just boom, 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 boom. From this retention pond, it was time to go head all the way out to Bourail. So Bourail was going to be our furthest north section that we were going to be birding at, and we headed up that direction. And there was a little forest kind of. At this, it
was like a neighborhood.
It was like a neighborhood, like on the shore. That there was like this really famous rock formation. Oh yeah, the face of New Caledonia, I think is what she called it.
Something like that, yeah.
But this forest is like right next to it. That had a kind of cool trail. It was it very very much reminded me of like a South American, like Brazil, or like even like Costa Rica or something. Like just a forest trail that's not really developed, and it's just kind of like people have just walked through here enough that the roots are beat down that you can actually tell that there's kind of a trail.
Les Fortes des Saccades.
Yeah, so we go down this trail, and red-bellied fruit doves were calling everywhere. But again, fruit doves, top of the trees, invisible doves calling.
We spent an hour and a half searching, and every once in a while I would see movement, no birds. And I mean, there was probably 4 or 5 calling in the trees. My neck hurt. I was frustrated. And I was like, let's just call it quits. Because it was like 5 o'clock.
Yeah. It was starting to get dark anyways. Let's go.
Yeah.
So And Isabel was fine. She just kept. She's like, "Do you want to keep looking?" And we're like, "Yeah, let's keep looking." And then finally, we were like, "We're done. That's it.
Yeah.
We can't stay. We can't."
I mean, she was happy to stay longer.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
she was very accommodating. It was like, if you want to leave, let's go.
Yeah. So we went over to our Hotel Depot, and it's like it's like a condo complex, I guess.
We had
of
a
some
huge
sort.
room.
Massive room, like really not very expensive at all, but massive room. Settled in, and then Isabel, like 15-20 minutes or whatever for us to settle, and then she was like, "Hey, we're going to dinner at my friend's house, Joss."
Chez Joss.
Chez Joss. He has like an Airbnb type property sort of situation going on.
He was like a warden or something, or like a property manager, like for a park manager, park superintendent or something to that effect. And then he retired, and he was like, "I'm just gonna have like a B&B."
Yeah, and so he serves like whatever's fresh. He hunts the invasive deer.
Yeah.
And cooks up venison if you eat venison. Hannah doesn't eat venison, so
I felt bad. She was like calling to like try to figure out what we would have for dinner, and it was like, "Do you eat venison? No. Do you eat fish? No." And I was like, "I eat chicken, pork, beef," and fortunately, he had pork.
Yeah. So he made a delicious
I'm
pork
difficult.
dish.
I know that. I'm sorry.
This guy's food though was so good.
Oh, it was delicious. Yeah, and pork and rice and vegetables and bread, magnifique.
Yeah, and great conversation with him. It was kind of funny because he spoke English well enough. Isabel spoke perfect English. It was super clear. But every time Joss would try to speak to her in French, she would like interrupt him and be like, "No, English. What's that?" And then he would have to and then think about it, and then he'd speak in English, and it was like. That's interesting. I don't know if it was like
if it was for our benefit or if she was trying to get him
or
to
if she's
learn
trying to get him to learn English better. I don't know exactly, but it was kind of funny. But,
it was a lovely night. We just ate on his porch, and he had a couple dogs, that were
hung out with his dogs, had a couple of beers, ate dinner.
Yeah, and they were, talking about some of the birders that had been through there. And they mentioned somebody whose name I'm familiar with from looking at the eBird Top 100 in the world. Mm-hmm. And he happens to be the top fifth eBirder in the world.
Yeah.
And so they were mentioning like, oh, he was there recently with a bunch of other people. And they were talking about their trip. And I was like, oh, he's like on the top 10 birders, and they had no idea.
Yeah, he's seen it's like 8,000 or 9,000 birds or something in the world, and it's like they were like, oh, okay, yeah, he was really interesting, and so we talked about him a little bit, and
but he left
he left a review on Joss's business website on his Google thing, and he's like, oh yeah, he left me a review, and so I go and look, and it's the only review that's on there so far. And it's like, how does he only have there's no reviews? So then I was like, all right. So then I left another review too. I was like, all right, Joss, you gotta have more reviews. Like this food is delicious. And like if you want people to come here, I'll leave you a review because this is really good.
So the next morning we went off to look for the New Caledonian thicket bird, which had recently been changed from grassbird to thicket bird at Pepe's thicket bird site, which is one of the best named hotspots.
It's a pretty convenient spot. Yeah, it's conveniently named. I don't know how they came up with the name. It's a mystery, but very creative.
Joss had made us a delicious breakfast that we ate al fresco with coffee and juice and anything you could ever want. Lots of cheese. It was great. And Isabel's car is great for traveling. It's a huge van with plenty of space, huge trunk space. Like you can put up the trunk. You can put up the back door and use that as like an awning. Mm-hmm. And there are large windows to see out of. I mean, that van pretty much solves all of the van problems that we've ever had on trips.
She could definitely have 5 to 6 people, no problem. Comfortably being in someone riding shotgun, and then 2 to 3 people in the 2 rows behind her, and have space for all the luggage. It's very, very spacious and comfortable to
I don't know
to
why
use.
they don't sell those in the U.S.
I don't know. I don't know what kind of vehicle it was, but it would be a really good vehicle if you were guiding in the U.S. That would be the one I would want to buy.
Yeah, right. And that thicket bird is a tough customer. We pulled up. One flew across the road almost immediately.
Yeah, it called, and she's like, "Oh, there it is calling," and we both heard it really well. And then all of a sudden, it flies across the road and way up the hill. And I was like, and so I'm looking, I'm like, "It's right there! It's right there! It's right there!" And then it drops down. And I think I got one like very backlit photo of it, and it's like it's just up there, I guess. And there was 2, because another one started calling, but man, they do not come out. grass bird, thicket bird, however you want to refer to it. It stays in there.
We hung around for about 20 or 30 minutes, and we saw it a couple more times, and it was moving through the thicket, going across the road. So we got adequate looks at it.
Good looks. No real good photos, but good looks.
C'est la vie.
Yeah.
But from there, we headed off to the Observatoire du Maurice Fournier.
Okay.
Which, yeah, my French is great. We walked through a forested area before getting out to a lake that had a huge, beautiful blind at it.
Oh,
I don't know why that was really there, but it was really nice.
Yeah, it was really nice.
But we ran into a graduate student from Poland that Isabel started chatting with, who was working on a Jerrygon nesting project, and all of the nests had been raided by New Caledonian crows, and she was very upset about that.
She was very upset. She was like, before I came to New Caledonia, I wanted to see the New Caledonia crows so bad. I wanted to see them. They're so smart, and I hear so much about them. But now that I'm here, I hate them. They're eating all of my project birds. they're killing all the nests. They're destroying them. Like,
yeah, that sucks.
So she was very very upset, just walking out of there, sad. So I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
Well, we stayed at the pond for about 2 hours. We had teals and Pacific black ducks and dusky moorhen. There was one Eurasian coot, which had been found a month previously.
It was a country first.
Yeah, so that was really cool to see, and I did not believe you when you kept saying you were seeing it.
Yeah, I was like, they're right there. It's a coot. It doesn't have any of the white tail feathers under the rump. Like, it's out there.
Yeah,
and
so that was pretty cool.
It was like a full ride into Eber. Like, you had to. It you know how you pop up and it has rare. It wasn't even within the filter to be a rare bird. You have to, right? Because it's a country first.
You have to go find it.
You have to go find it from the full list, which I feel like I've only ever done like twice. I think I've only ever had to do twice where I have to do a full ride in.
I feel like both of them were this time. This trip.
It was both for this trip. You're right. Both of them were for this. The 2 times I've had to, where I've actually legitimately submitted a bird that was completely off the list. Both times were on this trip. So I guess they need more reviewers for New Caledonia to adjust those filters.
About an hour in, Eric spotted a Nanking night heron in the thick vegetation in the back, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
There were sacred kingfishers fishing, like right in front of the blind, welcome swallows nesting in the blind, everything you could ever want. It was really nice and pleasant. Yeah. There was a couple groups of just like, I don't know, like regular people walking through with like kids and strollers and stuff.
Just regulars. Normals.
Well, not there to like necessarily be looking for birds. They were just like wandering around.
Having a good time at the park.
I think it was like a Sunday. So it was just like a day to go out and stroll.
Yeah, so then from there it was getting later in the afternoon, so it's like, well, we're headed back to Noumea for the night because we're going to be birding southeast of Noumea in the next morning. So we're going to stay back at Hotel Beau Rivage again for that night, and then for the last middle night of the tour. Mm-hmm. And so we headed down that direction and got checked back into the hotel down in the main city. Got ourselves some beer at the brewery again, and then again got confused because they're telling us, oh, you have to go here for food, and then they're like, oh, well, you can only get food upstairs, and we're like,
that's fine.
And we're like, that's fine. So we went upstairs, got some food. Got some burgers. It was interesting, but beer was still good. But next morning, early day again, like every day birding. Got up early, and this was the day that we were kind of looking forward to because Isabel had contacted us like 2 weeks prior to the trip and said, "Hey, somebody wants to go with you."
Yeah. On the last day.
On the last day, is that fine? Are you fine with another group joining us? And we're like, yeah, that's fine. Not a problem. Whatever. And then she said, a couple of days later, she then responded. She's like, "Well, it's Tim Appleton. Do you know him?" Or no. She said it's Tim Appleton. He said, and we're like, "Oh no, we know Tim."
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
He and his partner Penny are the founders of Global Birding and the founders of Global Bird Fair. And John Cox was joining us. So they were on a grand circle tour of the world to drop off the mural that was made at Global Bird Fair and drop off the checks from
the fundraising
efforts from Global Bird Fair down to, because
it was going to Fiji though. And so they were just like, hey, while we're down in the area, and they were actually staying in Vanuatu, but they stayed that night. They just flew over for the day.
Flew over for the day basically. Yeah. To New Caledonia, stayed in the same hotel we were in, got up and went with us out, and then that afternoon they were flying back to Fiji.
Yeah. So yeah, they really know how to travel.
Yeah, they were there to see a Kagu. That's the whole reason. The whole reason they came to New Caledonia, same as us, but they were they only gave themselves one day to see it.
Ugh. Yeah, but it was fun to hang out with them that day, and we were going to the Blue River Provincial Park, which is about an hour or so from Noumea, and that, like Eric said, was where we were going to see the Kagu and a few other species. Isabel had another guide that works with her, Thomas, and so he joined us to guide Eric and myself, while Isabel went with the English group. And our targets for us were the New Caledonian parakeet and crow honeyeater. And Isabel has special privileges to drive in that park because it's close to regular vehicle traffic.
Yeah, it used to be able to drive in there, and then they shut it down because there was too much damage, I think, to the habitat from too many people driving around. And then they also had a big flood that damaged the bridge that you cross. And so then it was like, okay, well, they shut it down, and then they've seen a massive uptick in the habitat restoration happening, and everything is getting better for the park. So they're like, oh, well, this seems to be a good idea to have shut this down, and they just have a tram that goes back and forth in the park, unless you have special permission, like Isabel does, and her Thomas, who works with her, he's
works for the park.
He's employed with the park, so he has a vehicle, and
yeah.
so it's. They're all allowed to drive in the park, so it was like, oh, this is kind of convenient. Like,
yeah, right.
Go with the people that have access to actually drive in the park.
And Thomas specializes on the crow honeyeater, and so he knows where to find them. So that really helped out a lot because it was tough to see them. So we got to a spot where Thomas had seen them previously, and fortunately for us, they were there. And they were moving around really deep into the vegetation. And so I don't think I ever got a clear look at them. But I mean, I got two. I think there were
pretty
two
bad photos. Yeah. We saw. It might have been the same one twice. I'm not entirely sure because it was calling at one point. Though the call that I recorded, there isn't very many calls on Merlin. There's not very many calls on Xenocantu of the crow honeyeater. But I recorded it, and he's like, "That's it. That's the female calling. She's calling to the male." And
if you say so.
I was like, if you say so, because this doesn't sound anything like any of the calls that are recorded on eBird or on Xenocantu. So I'm like, well, I'll just post it as such, and we'll see. But we'll see if somebody tries to criticize it.
They're an interesting bird. I mean, they look like a crow, basically, but they have red like wattles around their eye and like kind of almost like an ear
in front of like where their ear holes are at. There's like another like wattle, so it basically looks like an ear on the side of their head,
but just really long bill. It almost looks like a plague doctor beak on it.
I could see that being the plague doctor, the inspiration for the plague doctor mask. Yeah,
definitely.
Because that is definitely what
that's what happened. But yeah, we felt really fortunate that we got to see them. We had lunch just right outside of like a boardwalk area where we had seen a Kagu previously.
Again?
Yeah, which that place where we saw the Kagu was just stunning. It was like this is what nature should be. It was like that little area with the water flowing through and the really thick vegetation that's like, I don't know how anybody could ever walk through this. But anyways, right outside of that, there's a picnic table that we were like eating lunch at.
It's like where the tram picks people up and drops people off from.
Yeah, and there were 3 Kagu that were just like running back and forth.
It's like, oh my gosh.
And one of them had its crest up.
And this is the park that it was like, this is where the Kagus are at. They're doing very well in this park. So that was the target. Like, for the most part, most people come there to go to that park to target the Kagu.
Yeah. It was not tough for us.
Yeah. So it was much easier. I'm glad that, and Penny and Tim and John all got to get really good looks at it, photos and videos and stuff like that of that group of Kagus running around, and they were just same thing, like ghosts, like just through the trees, and they come out and they run across the road, and they weren't dancing. They're not. It wasn't the time of year for them to be doing like the strut where they stand up and do this really cool strut thing that they do. I saw some videos of it online, but they throw their crest up as like a warning of some sort, or maybe an agitation. It's a signal of some sort.
Yeah.
But they're every once in a while they throw its crest up as they're running. But yeah, they're just like going back and forth across the road as we're just like sitting there eating lunch.
They're so silly. They're much bigger than I thought they were going to be.
So much bigger, yeah.
So afterwards, Thomas was going to drive us into the park so we could look for the parakeet, and the habitat a little further down was better for fruiting trees. So we had one quickly fly through down the river. Not a great look. Thomas was not happy with our experience with that. So he was trying to help us find some better ones. And it was hot that afternoon.
It started getting very, very warm.
Yeah, and like humid. Because it's such a dense forest and like with the river and everything. So we went back to the river, got a much better look at a parakeet.
Yeah.
And then we were kind of like, well, what else do we look for? And we had seen a fan-tailed cuckoo earlier in the day, but
barely.
Yeah,
like,
we weren't going to count
I didn't see it. I wasn't going to put it on the list. I was like, that's so bad. Like, I barely saw motion. So
we were kind of like, Thomas, can we try to look for another one, fan-tailed cuckoo? And he was like, sure.
He was like, it was like very reluctant. Like, I don't think we're just like.
I mean, he was sweating up a storm too.
Oh yeah,
it was hot. It was miserable. Hot. I thought I was gonna get heat exhaustion or something. So we went on this back road that I don't even know. It was like a utility road. Like you can't drive vehicles.
Oh no, it was way too poor to drive vehicles on. Yeah, so it was definitely a footpath only. Climbing
up and over like these big rocks.
Yeah.
And then finally...
But it was wide enough to be a road. Like, the road washed out or something, and that's what was left. It was like these rocks you had to climb up and over.
But finally, like, up on the hill, I think Thomas
it was calling.
It was calling.
It was calling.
Up on the hill, it was calling. And then, like, I don't know, half a mile up...
Probably a full half
There
mile
was, like,
away,
a tree that had a opening in the branches, and you could see
like on the bottom left, a horizontal branch with the bird sitting
you could see
in that
silhouette of the bird, and we're like, there you go.
Got some terrible recordings from a half mile away. Got some really bad backlit photos that I think I threw away. but there it was.
Yeah. So we all regrouped. Thomas was driving the English group back to the airport so they could get back to Vanuatu. And Isabel had one last bird for us to find because guides always are trying to...
Because it's always on that last day of the trip when... You're going over the list, what you've seen, and then you're like, oh, well, I've seen 99 birds. Or you've seen some number one less of some metric, of some milestone. And then it's always like, we've got to get you that one.
Well,
I know the perfect one. I know where we're going to find that one.
Because we were looking at the top 100, and we knew somebody that, like, of all time, and we knew somebody that was at a certain level, and we were kind of just joking to her, like, oh, yeah, we want to beat so-and-so. And she was like, we're going to beat him.
Yeah, all of a sudden it was real. It was on. And so, like, that last day, especially after the crow honey eater and the New Caledonian parakeet, when we didn't really have any, like, real targets that were, like, endemic targets that we needed to get, she was like, all right, we're going to find some things. And so then we went through our list and we're like, okay, well, we need, like, pigeon, I think was one that we still need. There was a couple, like, silly things that it was like, that would give us one more. That would... Just random birds that would be like, oh, let's get this, let's get that. And then she was like, I know of this interesting bird that is pretty rare, and she's like, it's not really on the list, but we can go try for it. A black-backed bittern.
Yeah.
That it's an Australian bird that is just apparently been nesting at this random.
It's like not even really on eBird.
No, it's been nesting at this wetland in the middle of the city for like 2 years now.
Yeah.
And it's just a single pair that's just been nesting, and it's just doing its thing.
And like all the birders know about it.
All the birders know that. All the locals know all about it, but it's doesn't pop up on an eBird. Most people don't use eBird down there anyways. But
yeah.
So
she took us back to Noumea and into this mangrove forest that's a beautiful nature area.
Beautiful nature park.
There were all the little crabs with the fiddler crabs.
The fiddler crabs, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there's so many of them. They're all over the place.
Just fluorescent colors.
Yeah, and this was in the middle of the city, and there's all these like big wide trails on like levees in between these like mangrove areas, and all these people riding bikes and walking strollers and dogs and just outside enjoying nature and enjoying being outside.
Yeah.
And we walked about a half mile through these busy trails of people and got to a spot where Isabel just like plopped down and we started looking.
She's like, it's in the mangrove somewhere here. This is the mangrove pond that it hangs out in.
Yeah.
So that we look and look and look for like 2 minutes. and then boom.
Then Eric finally finds it in the back.
And it's just like right there, just hanging out. And it's feeding. It was just working its way back and forth, hanging on the low branches. A black-backed bittern. So just weird bird hanging out.
Whatever.
So it was a nice final bird for the trip.
Yeah, so she got us our number. We're number like 72 for all time in New Caledonia. But that's
But-
that's what you get for being there for like 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, we had I think it was 78 total birds for that portion of the trip for New Caledonia itself. 52 lifers.
Wow.
I got 37 photo lifers and 13 audio lifers that I recorded. So
I didn't get that many
pretty good
video lifers. I mean, only maybe like 4 or 5, but I didn't have the phone scope adapter for my new phone.
yeah,
So that kind of...
it slowed things down to
Yeah.
try to get connected in and clip it together.
But also some of the birds, like the Kagu and the, yellow-bellied fly robin were so close that
you didn't need
I didn't need
any
phone
additional
scope.
optics.
Yeah.
Just literally your phone, pull it out, zoom into 2 times, and boom. That's
Exactly.
it.
Yeah. So it's an absolutely incredible country to go explore. I mean, I was thinking like, yeah, I saw the Kagu, I'm good. But now that we've been talking about it and, working on our podcast for this and everything, and that was about, a month and a half ago, I think like, I need to see it again.
Yeah, such a cool bird, such a cool island. Like, if you're into plants, definitely go visit. Like
Yeah.
that island has so many old plants. Like I don't know that much about plants, but we have a couple botanist friends that like
They were so jealous.
they were so jealous. Like, and I've talked to them since, and they're like, "Oh, did you see this? Oh, did you see that?" And it's like, I think I saw some of that stuff. Like the things that I read all the interpretive panels, the ones that were printed in English, and I was like, all right, I gotta learn about this. I gotta learn about this because there's just so many interesting things on this island.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely 100% recommend. 10 out of 10.
I was just going to say 10 out of
10
10.
out of 10. Go.
Yeah.
Go to New Caledonia. It was a blast.
And hire Isabel.
Hire
I mean,
Isabel, yeah.
she's delightful, and yeah, I hope we can keep in touch with her because it was just so fun to hang out with her.
Yeah,
She's like the guide that I kind of always wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
So-
one of the things that we talked with Isabel about is about conservation and how much that means to her, and people coming and visiting and
Yes.
exploring and doing so respectfully really can help perpetuate like the conservation ethic.
Yeah.
And so that's something that was really important to her, that once she talked about it and discussed it, really opened up my eyes to like, I mean, I've always known that traveling it can broaden people's minds and all this stuff, but like it really puts into perspective how important it's something that I'm happy that I can support in the ways that we're doing. Like I know travel has its own issues, but I'm glad that we can go and help people learn about these cool species. And, we can support Isabel in the work that she's doing, because she's not just guiding, she's participating in surveys. She's building bridges and relationships with like different groups to try
she's still
to
actively
promote
doing
conservation.
She's actively doing conservation still. So
Yeah.
Donating fencing material to keep the feral dogs out of places like she's actively still doing stuff like that, even though guiding has become a mostly full-time job for her. She's still doing all that other conservation work as well. So had a blast.
Yep.
10 out of 10.
You already said that.
I already said that. But yeah, thank you guys all for listening to our podcast. We hope you enjoyed it and or learned something new. Please, please, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Music, or anywhere else that you listen to us. If you'd like to connect with us on the socials, you can follow us at Hannah Goes Birding and Eric Goes Birding on Instagram. You can follow our Facebook page at Hannah and Eric Go Birding, or email us at hannahhandericgobirding@gmail.com. You can also check out our website at www.gobirdingpodcast.com. Tell us what you think and share the love of birding with your friends.